I just want to start. This fight kind of got announced only a couple of days ago, I think. When did you find out about this fight?
Like a half an hour before it got posted.
Do you like this, having this really short notice fight, or do you wish you would have had a bit longer to prepare?
It doesn't matter to me. Like I was training. I had asked to be fight around that date. So I was ready to go. It would have been all right to have a little bit more notice on an opponent, just to have my coaches come up with game planning stuff. But I usually just I'm worried about me. Like, I'm worried about getting myself into the best shape that I can before the fight, and being me and fighting like me. I try not to really focus on what my opponents do, and because guys change stuff all the time. So yeah. So it really doesn't matter to me.
Before we get more into your fight, you're obviously gonna tie Cerrone once again for most UFC fights. Like, what's it like? You guys just, it seems you two just keep on alternating whoever has the record for most UFC fights.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. And it's something that it's a cool thing to have. It's a cool, just little feather in the cap, but it's not anything like super important to me. At this point, there's a handful of us that are probably going to get over 30, and a few of us might push 40 or might push past 40. Who the hell knows? But it's going to be one of those things that the game is changing. I just don't see guys in the future, coming close to 30 fights in the UFC.
Yeah, because this will be your 35th. Like, do you think 40 is a realistic thing for you, where you can get 5 more fights after this in the UFC?
Yeah. I mean, if all goes well next week, I mean, my plan is to get in again, end of August or early September or something like that. And if I had gotten a fight at the pace that I wanted to, I'd definitely have another, at least probably 3 fights. I've had to deal with some longer layoffs than I wanted. So yeah, I think 40 should be relatively easy.
Is it weird to you where you made your UFC debut in 2008 and Roosevelt Roberts didn't start fighting until 2014, and now you guys are fighting? Like, is that weird to see kind of how many new guys and how long you've been in this game for?
It's not really surprising, It's the way it goes. I've been able to stick around long enough, and now there's plenty of guys that have started fighting after I was in the UFC, and it's not. I don't know. To me, I feel like that's an advantage to me. Obviously, I'm a bit older than these guys, but at the same time, I've gone with future and former world champs, and mixed it up with just about everybody at lightweight. So I view that as me having an advantage when it comes to just comfort level and experience wise.
You're coming off the loss to Scott. Like, how important is this for you to just get back in the winning column and get back on track?
It's always important. It's never not important. It's never not, everybody always asks, like, oh, is this the biggest fight of your life? Is this the biggest fight of your career? And this and that. And if you're looking, to your past, then you've got an issue. Then you should probably not be in the game anymore. For me, it's every fight's important because it's the one that I got control over. Like the guy standing in front of me is always going to be the most important to me, and that's never going to change.
Roosevelt Roberts is one of these up and coming prospects the UFC is trying to build. He's 10-1. Like, how much do you know about him? Just because he is still fairly new into the UFC.
I've seen him fight a couple times, and he I think he called me out when I think that was what the heck fight was that? Maybe when I fought Clay. I don't know. One of those cards. Like we fought on the same card together. I remember watching the fight. It might even been before that, but
it was after you beat Jason Gonzalez because he was on that card too.
Yeah. That was the one. Yeah, like I've seen him fight, and he's dangerous. I mean, he's got some submission skills, and he's solid on his feet, and you can't sleep on anybody. So his record doesn't matter. Like none of it ever matters. If he was 101, it wouldn't matter on fight night. It's a fight, and we're both going to go in there and fight as hard as we can. I'm going to try to do everything I can to come out on top.
You fought on a lot of massive cards, like UFC 100, UFC 196, 200, 205. Like the list goes on. Like, how weird will it be now to be fighting in front of no fans?
It'll be a little weird. It will be a little weird. I fought early on the card plenty of times where there really wasn't anybody in the venue yet. But it is just going to be a little bit different. I mean, it doesn't bother me. Like when I get in there anyway, I don't hear my corner. I get such like tunnel vision, such like hyper focus, that all I hear is like white noise and I don't see outside the cage. Like in one occasion in my career have I like actually seen like outside the cage, and the only time I've ever heard somebody really outside the cage is my mom and my older brother when they were like sitting second row at one of my earlier fights. So like for me it doesn't matter. Like even the Lozon fight, the first one where the crowd was going absolutely bananas. I didn't hear it until that minute in between rounds. It would be like, somebody just turns the volume up on you, and it's like, holy shit, like, like it's really loud in here. And then like, you get back into the fight, and I focus in, and I don't hear any of that. So like the aspect of like, me like hearing the fans or anything like that, or that doesn't. It's not going to affect me, There are definitely times where like you feel it, I mean, like when the fans do go crazy, you do feel it. You do feel that rush, and without that, it's going to be a little different. But that usually happens like after the fight, right? Like after a finish or something like that, you get that like holy crap, everybody's cheering their brains out for me.
This fight, too, is at the UFC Apex, which is a smaller Octagon. Like, how do you think that smaller Octagon will impact the fight?
I fought in the small ones a couple times. So it's not an issue, I mean, particularly for my style, I don't mind the small ones at all. I actually kind of prefer them. He's a bit taller than me, so being able to close the distance and keep on him, just keep that pressure on him is going to be to my benefit.
And how do you see this fight playing out between you and Roosevelt?
I don't know. I hope that I go out and I have some fun, and then that means the finish is going to come pretty quickly. Like I'm feeling pretty good, and I'm ready to fight. So I do respect his ground game, and I do respect his striking, and it's not like I'm just going to go in there and bum rush him and stuff like that, but I feel like I've got a pretty good advantage. He's coming off of a good win, and he's got a head of steam behind him, and a ton of confidence, and that makes him a dangerous man. But I'm ready for it, and I know that I can perform.
Where do you think a win over Roosevelt puts you in this division? So he obviously has a bit of hype behind him.
I don't know. I don't know where necessarily puts me in the division. I hope that it puts me in the opportunity to fight again by the end of the summer. That's all. I like the big fights. I like fighting the the other, guys that have I guess you could say legend status, like fighting Clay was awesome. Like it was just even the build up, it wasn't necessarily just the fight. Like it was just knowing that I was going to share the Octagon with him was cool. And it had me really hyped leading up to the fight. So if I can fight, these other guys that have been around for a while, then that's great. Whether it's at 55s or 70s. I mean, I even asked to fight at 70s if they had somebody there for me. Or these young up and comers, they can step in there with me too. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, where it really puts me. I just want to come out healthy and get another one as quick as I can.
Is there anyone in particular you still want to fight? Because you fought a lot of guys. You fought a lot of those big names. Is there any name that stands out to you of who you want to fight before your career ends?
I don't know. I mean, I always wanted to fight GSP. That was like, he was the guy that I wanted to fight because I wanted to see how good he was. Because just the way that he dominated guys, it really interested me to see how I would match up against him. But I'd say currently, you know what? If Cerrone and I are going to get to 40 again, or get to 40, kind of together, we might as well mix it up again at 40, and that way, if we're both too old to continue, then, at least we go out with a bang, and that's about it. But, nobody in particular.
With all this like COVID stuff going on, all the like the quarantine rules and stuff, like how difficult or how different has it been for you to train for this fight?
It's been a lot different, like in the beginning of my career, when I was, first starting out, and even in the beginning of my UFC career, I was training with a lot of guys that like had fought, but weren't fighting anymore, or would maybe fight like once every 2 years type thing. So, my brother and I were like, we were the ones that were getting the attention, right? Like, guys were coming in to work with us because they just wanted to come in and train and spar and mix it up. But like, they weren't necessarily fighting. So, they were there to help us. And then it's like the team got bigger and better, and that was awesome because you had a huge variety of guys, body type, and that. And it definitely got pushed, but everybody was fighting at the same time. So it's hard when you're gearing up for a fight to mimic somebody else's opponent, or to sacrifice your rounds and be the dummy for the other guy. So it was kind of something that like was kind of faded out, even at my gym, I got a group of young fighters and they were all fighting and stuff like that. So, for the last, about 2 months or so, it's been all about me, which is kind of cool. We really like broke it back down. In order to try to like minimize contact and stuff like that and travel and all that stuff. I just been banging out everything together in one clip as opposed to spacing it out. So it gets a little bit, gets a little bit tough, on those the harder days. But we're doing it a couple days a week, and I have time off, and that I'm not beating myself up. I've been hitting more pads than I've been doing in a few years, and been drilling more jiu-jitsu than I have been in years, and I'm feeling really good. There definitely have been some of the tougher things with like body types and stuff like that. Like I haven't worked with too many guys that are his height. My Thai instructor Amr's pretty tall. He's 6'3", so like I've been sparring with him. But my other guys are about my height, so that's the only issue.
How do you think that height is going to factor in this one? Like, do you think that's going to be difficult for you to overcome?
I've fought plenty of tough guys and landed plenty of punches on, or plenty of tall guys and landed plenty of punches on tall guys. So it's one of those things. Like if I'm able to implement my game plan, height's never been an issue for me. I'm gonna get in there and I'm gonna do what I got to do, and it's just not letting him use his length is the thing.
All right, well, Jim, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah, have a good one.
You too. Thanks.
Bye.